and Rosa, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
We really do appreciate having you in here because I know you guys have kind of an example of what STEP is doing for people. First of all, let me talk with Philip, who's hiding. He says Rosa's the one that has all the information, and it's probably wise. I let my wife do the talking too.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about what your situation is here and where you were when you had to go to STEP services. How long have you been in the military?
I've been in the military right now for a year so far.
All right, and at the time that you needed the help of the Support the Enlisted project, what was the pay grade that you were at the time?
I was at an E1.
Okay, and so obviously that's not bringing in a whole lot of money at the time.
No, it's not.
And you guys have a beautiful child over here, right? Is it just one? Just one so far?
We have three.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. See,
And
I
this
made
is
the same
Gabriel?
mistake.
Yeah, it's Gabriel.
Okay, so you got 3 kids, and obviously, did you pick the cute one to bring in? Did the other 2 not make the cut?
No, the other 2 got to go to school.
So tell me what was going on when you guys kind of realized we're in deep right now and we need some help from Support the Enlisted.
It was basically either lose our car of him getting back and forth to work or buy food for our children to eat. So that's what made us call.
What was going through your mind when you were faced with this big decision? You have this big payment that you need to make to fix the car and feeding the kids. Did you know that you could do this and get some reaction?
Well, there's not really a lot of help as they make it sound for military families because they believe that we get so much help. But our help is just limited to a certain as for being a civilian. Because when I was a civilian, I was getting help from the government. So now that we are a part of the government, it's like they hinder some of our help, to a certain extent. So when the Fleet and Family had told us about the STEP program, we called and explained our situation, and they were more than helpful, and they also gave us $250 for gift certificates to the commissary so we could get groceries as well.
And got the car fixed?
And got the car fixed. The car cost $4,000.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, who was riding the car that hard?
Nobody was riding the car that hard.
No, nobody was being rough on the car.
No, it's just it was a mechanical problem that nobody could tell. The timing retentioners came loose, which caused the timing belt to snap and completely mess up my hits. So
I'm going to have PJ translate that for me as soon as you guys are done. So.
I know. I have all these car problems, though, and it definitely weighs on you. What was going through your mind then when you were thinking about, okay, what are we going to do here? This is a big amount of money.
Yes, it was. Well, we was weighing out our options. I tried to fix the car myself, and then I didn't know that it was that serious of a problem.
Well, yeah, the timing retentioners broke the twister fester belt.
Yeah, but it was a real stressful situation because, like we said, I was an E1, didn't have the money at the time, so it was a real difficult situation. We called the bank to see if they would help us out, and they basically just gave us a one-way ultimatum that this would have put us deeper in debt.
Oh, no.
So,
Yeah.
my wife found out about the program, which was a blessing. They, like she said, no hassles. They did more than enough, and we're very appreciative of it because I didn't have $4,000 to get a new engine put into the car.
Yeah, I don't have $4,000 to get an engine. Linda, can I borrow $4,000?
But for STEP, I mean, if you saw some other families that were struggling, what would you tell them about?
Oh, as a matter of fact, people, I'm pretty well known.
We do inform them.
Yeah, I'm pretty well known around the boat because of my job. I'm a service person, so I deal with a lot of people. And they ask me all the time, and I tell people who's going through problems if I'm standing around and hear shipmate or somebody like that talking about their problems. I do tell them about the STEP program. And my coworkers that I work with, they knew about my situation. They asked me about it, and I was like, well, the STEP program, they asked me what it is to support the enlisted personnel. And every couple of them have looked it up and stuff like that, and I don't know if they went through with them.
But they checked it out.
They checked it out at least.
All right.
So I do inform people about this program because, like my wife said, you don't always have the best of help.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why you came out here to talk about it. So
Yes, ma'am.
we
All
appreciate
right.
that.
The Support the Enlisted Project, find out more at kogo.com, keyword STEP. It's also where you can go to make a donation and help out because, as you're hearing, service members don't always have all the different resources that sometimes we tend to think that they might. So Support the Enlisted Project, kogo.com, keyword STEP. Philip, Rosa, thank you so much for being in here.
Thank you very much.
Bringing the
Thank
cute
you.
kid, too.
No problem.
Thank you.
And, Linda, I've flipped it on people because now I get solicitors at my house all the time. For whatever reason, they seem to think I have money. So I flipped it on them. And now every time a solicitor comes to my house, I tell them, I go, I'm probably not interested in your thing, but have you heard about STEP? This is true. I did it the other day. I had a guy coming by selling magazines, and I went, probably not going to buy magazines. And the guy told me that he was former military. And I said, I'm not going to buy magazines. But listen, if you've got any friends that are in need of financial assistance or emergency stuff, I want to talk to you about STEP. And the guy just looks at me and glazes over like, I'm not here to talk about Support the Enlisted. I'm here to sell magazines. And I thought, I'm not here to buy magazines. I'm here to live in my house.
I know.
So if I'm going to listen to your spiel, you're going to listen to mine.
It's amazing, though, this organization, because so little can mean so much to these families.
You're right.
We just keep hearing this over and over.
A big deal. And we talked with some of the organizers earlier, and they said, look, they get requests, 60 to 90 families who come in saying, we're just short on food this month. I mean, that's an incredible amount of people that need help. And you can, again, make that donation by going to kogo.com. And I say click on Linda's pretty face. You can also type in keyword STEP, but it's easier just to click on Linda and then make your donation right there. Or if you're not comfortable making a donation online, that's fine. You can call 858-695-6810. 858-695-6810. We'll be giving that number and, of course, the location where you can help out throughout the program today as we are working with our Support the Enlisted Radio-thon. We are also live on iHeartRadio, so people who are listening online, hey, you can also go to kogo.com, keyword STEP. If you have not downloaded the free app, do so at iHeartRadio.com and take News Radio 600 Kogo wherever you go. Just a couple of days away from the Broncos coming to town, Ben Higgins from Extra Sports 1360 tells you just how the Chargers rate going into Sunday's game. That is at 5:51. Merrill, the voice of Merrill, News Radio 600 Kogo. The Radiothon continues for the Support the Enlisted Project. Make your donations by going to kogo.com. Click on Linda. You'll see her face pop up first thing, and you can make a donation right there, or you can also call if you're uncomfortable making a donation online. I understand. 858-695-6810. 858-695-6810.
So there's no jogging involved?
No jogging. No, it's not. No. Was that kind of it was kind of an obstacle for you, wasn't it? You were afraid that we were going to have to step.
I'm not a runner.
Not even a lot of walking involved in this one. Ben Higgins from Extra Sports 1360 is in the studio with us right now. Ben, Thursday Night Football last night, I thought was revealing because what I didn't realize, we know that the Chargers team has ups and downs, but what I didn't realize is how much other teams were learning from the Chargers. For instance, last weekend, Redskins play the Chargers. Chargers failed to push it into the end zone with 4 tries. And the Redskins went, oh, that's how it's done.
This is a fascinating discussion because I didn't watch a lick of Thursday Night Football last night because I was watching college football, and then I caught the end of the Lakers game. Now, I followed on Twitter and saw the highlights later about how the Redskins blew it at the goal line, just like the Chargers did.
Right.
Chargers showing a nice example of how not to do things. Goal line situations are harder, I think, than people give them credit for. It's pretty easy to move the ball. As an NFL offense, you've got all the advantages in the world when you've got the field to work with, because defenses obviously don't want to give up the big plays, so the cornerbacks have to play off. All the rules favor the offense, so it's really very difficult to stop an offense out in the open field unless they make a mistake or you make an exceptional play. It kind of reverses when you get to the goal line, because all of a sudden you don't have to worry about the guy blowing past you 30 yards down the field. They've got out-of-bounds lines that are protecting you. So then you're up there, and the defense can makes it a much easier prospect for the defense. So that is something that we don't always acknowledge, that definitely has to be brought into consideration.
Understandable in the Chargers case, though, they're less than a yard away. The officials said they were going to put it on the 6-inch line. It actually ended up being on about the 30.
Still should have run it 3 times.
I still
think
disagree
so.
with you.
Ken Wisenhunt, the offensive coordinator, only speaks on Thursday. So first chance to talk to the media was yesterday. he didn't say what would have worked better, but he did say, at least he acknowledged finally that if I had a chance to do it over, would I do something? Sure, I'd love to do it over and do something differently. Absolutely. Right. I think that makes fans feel a little bit better. It's something that the head coach will never say. He always expresses 100% confidence in things that didn't work. Oh, that was our plan. We stuck with our plan. I'm glad we stuck with our plan.
Right.
Well, why? It didn't work. Why didn't you try something else?
Right.
But at least Ken Wisenhunt seems to have is reasonable about these sort of things.
And had Danny Woodhead been able to sneak through the legs of some giant linemen and put it across the goal line,
said no one would be questioning this. If one of these plays had worked, everyone would be happy with me.
He's right.
Yes,
but at the same time, if it had worked, then we'd say, well, you did your job.
Exactly.
So I guess that's where the debate rolls in there. Talk to me about college football that went down last night.
It was a surprising night. There was 2 big games, 2 top 10 games. You rarely see this on a Thursday night. The first one surprised me in how well Baylor played. Baylor is the sneaky undefeated team out of Texas that no one's really talking about, but all of a sudden, after clobbering Oklahoma last night, has to be considered at least on the fringes of the BCS championship picture because they throttled Oklahoma. But then you're expecting Oregon to kind of do the same to Stanford. But whatever it is, Stanford seems to just have Oregon's number. And the game ended up being 26-20, but it was nowhere near as close as that final score. Stanford dominated the game. Tyler Gaffney, running back, kid from Cathedral Catholic High School here in San Diego.
Right, where the sexting happened.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know your stuff, Chris. He sexted his way right through the Oregon defense or something like that. It was an impressive performance by Stanford. Now, Oregon nearly pulled off a miracle with a blocked field goal, an onside kick, and got 20 points in the fourth quarter. But Oregon's offense, which averages 55 points a game, did not score until the fourth quarter. It was absolutely stunning how that game played out. And Stanford, even with one loss, is still kind of on the fringes there, depending on if any teams lose now down the stretch. Stanford could consider themselves an outside dark horse candidate for the BCS championship.
All year long, we've been looking at Alabama and Oregon, saying that's the matchup we want to see. That's the matchup we want to see. Is that blown out? Is that done now?
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest celebration last night happened in Tallahassee, Florida, because Florida State now controls their destiny to get to that national championship game. It's Florida State, Alabama right now. If both of those teams go undefeated, that's who's going to play in Pasadena for the title in January. But if someone slips up, Ohio State's there undefeated, Stanford one loss, Baylor undefeated. You got to look at all these teams as possibilities.
Boy, you talk about the high-scoring offenses, too. In that game, the Oregon-Stanford game, a couple of Pac-12ers, we had Oregon favored by 10 points going into it. The Baylor game against Oklahoma, which is perennially a great team, the Baylor game, they were actually favored by 17, and they covered that by a huge margin.
Yeah, they've been
margin.
scoring like 70 in most games.
It's
They have a ridiculous offense, and no one knows much about this team, but they've got a quarterback, Petty, I think his name, who's an outside Heisman Trophy candidate. Lake Seastrunk's a great running back. It's a good team. Did you see the latest on Richie Incognito as well in the Dolphins locker room with the statement released?
Now what?
Let's just say Andrew Dice Clay would be blushing at the talk in the Dolphins locker room. You're gonna have to look that one up.
Is this something about Jonathan Martin's sister?
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
There's really nothing we can talk about on the radio or at home or at work or anywhere. NSFW, not suitable for work. This would be like NSFP. It's not suitable for prison, even. This talk
My goodness.
in the Dolphins locker room.
All right. Well, they'll talk about it. They'll tiptoe around it, and they will censor the heck out of it. Not because they want to, but because the FCC says they have to. Ben Higgins and Extra Sports 1360. The World of Sports starts in just 90 seconds on our brother station 1360. At 6:06, we'll continue trying to make you aware of some of the needs going on for our enlisted and recently transitioned out of the military friends with the Support the Enlisted project. We will continue with our radiothon here at 6:06.